Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video, something I haven't actually spoken about on my channel. I took a trip to Sri Lanka by myself. I had just turned 20. When I first arrived there, I literally wanted to get on the next flight home. When I arrived in Sri Lanka, I was by myself. My phone SIM, I had to get changed. So I went up to the desk and the guy changed my SIM, and now all of a sudden my phone isn't working, my data isn't working, my SIM isn't working. Looking for my taxi driver, can't see anyone holding the sign for the company that I was meant to be going with. So then I'm really freaking out because I'm like panicking. I've just arrived in Sri Lanka. I couldn't contact anybody from home. I couldn't even contact the people that were meant to be picking me up. I couldn't contact the program that I'd gone through. I literally was by myself. Right, compose yourself, girl, we've gotten this far. Eventually this guy comes with like a post of things up. He's like, sorry, I'm late. Tell him my phone isn't working, and he knows I haven't got a phone. And I know it sounds dramatic, but being a girl in this world, you have to be so cautious. They could easily have taken advantage of that, you know? I had to get in this taxi because I knew that the taxi was taking me to the people that I was meant to be meeting. The guy said, where are you going? I thought that the guy who was picking me up was part of the program. He wasn't. He was just a taxi driver they'd sent out to come and collect me. So he was nothing to do with the program that I was doing. Thankfully, give me his hotspot. So I managed to get onto WhatsApp. Then I got to the hotel where I was meant to be meeting a group of people to go traveling with. When I got to the hotel, literally nobody. It was me, two men at reception. That was it. Where are the people that I'm meant to be meeting? Do you know about them? Like, do you know if anyone's here? And they said, oh, they've just gone out for food. Bearing in mind, I am starving. I've been traveling for 15 hours. I'm ready for food. I don't know where I am. My phone isn't working. I can't go food on my own. Wouldn't know how to get back to the hotel. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait. So they give me a spare room to go shower in. And I walk into this room and there is all the sort of like creatures that you can imagine in the shower. When I turned the shower on, they just started running out. It was like something out of a horror film. It was like something out of a nightmare, and it was like my day couldn't get anywhere. It's like saying this to you guys reminds me of all these stories and everything that happened. Like, this is not for me. Biggest mistake ever. Finally, these people who my age, they come back, sprint downstairs. Apart from this one section that I've just told you about, everything else went so smoothly. It was the best trip ever. I think I got really unlucky, and the fact that I went by myself, the whole start was very rocky. Besides that, they were so safe. They took us to all the best spots. They really showed us around. We had the most incredible trip. If I'd had my phone and my phone was working, I'd have been fine. The fact that I couldn't contact anybody at all was scary. So anyways, I run downstairs and I basically meet the first 5 people that I'm going traveling with that I've never met before. As we had a chat, I really need to go to the shop to get some food because they'd all been out for food. So we walked to the shop and I'm trying to figure out like the prices on things, and like this is the first thing I'm buying in Sri Lanka. So we go for a little walk. It's boiling hot, but these people had already had like a full day in this hotel, so they had been in the pool, they had been for food, so I was kind of late. But then there was another like 15 people who were arriving after as well. Yeah, but this is not an ad, just something that I genuinely think everyone should do. If you go onto the Travel Tier website, if you did want to do this, you can see here that living costs £35 a day. Travel Tier is a charity. We'll get more into what Travel Tier is and how that works, but I fundraised £535, which was 356% more than I needed to, because my target was £150. So grateful for everybody that did help me fundraise for this. I had no idea the extent of how many stray dogs there would be in Sri Lanka. But I didn't see a lot of this on TikTok, and I guess I should have just known in general. I was so upset. The stray dogs is something also to consider because there was loads. I bought so many treats for them. I would just take them out every single day. However, I didn't have a vaccine for rabies, so I had to be so careful, and I actually had a bit of a meltdown this one night. Cried for the whole evening. People who took us on our tour were like, I've never seen anyone be so emotional over dogs. There was a turtle hatchery where the guy owned the turtle hatchery had taken in a dog called Buddy. Me and Buddy got super close throughout my time in Sri Lanka because I would always go back to the turtle hatchery to go and see them. We went on a little bit of a tour. So this is where I was with the group of people. A week of just traveling Sri Lanka. So a lot of busing, hostels and switching, and then going to the next hotel the next morning, hiking. The trip was absolutely incredible, literally the best experience ever. And I know like the start sounds horrendous. So by the way, if you don't have your data roaming on when you get to Sri Lanka or any other country, then your phone won't work, because I think that was what the problem was. Yeah, literally my own fault. And the second day we hiked up Sigiriya Rock. I don't know how to say that. Great hike. It was nice. It got us all like team bonding. The only thing is I went in May, which was monsoon season. I actually feel it's quite windy up the top and here, so I feel so fine. It's really nice actually. Steps are really slow. It smells me like I'm gonna fall. It's scary. But we're on our way back down. I feel good. And I've been using my water. Those dates that worked for me, and it just happened to be monsoon season, which is Agata, but at the same time didn't ruin the trip at all. One of my friends even jumped in the pool whilst the monsoon was happening, so it was actually really funny. And we went surfing during the monsoon, which was insane experience, by the way. Kind of scary because is there more sharks in the sea because of this monsoon, but Thailand this time I'm going July, which is rainy season, not monsoon season. I kind of know what to expect. Lanka was pretty warm anyways, so we would be in shorts and little tops and stuff. Food in Sri Lanka, curry. Expect a lot of curry, chickpea curry. I basically lived off rice for 3 weeks, and there are things that I did really like that were Sri Lankan, but curry is strong over there. It's got a very distinct smell. Okay, this was my favorite Sri Lankan meal, and I don't want to try and say it because I feel like I'm gonna say it wrong, but you could get this in vegetarian. It's called like kotu. I could be saying that wrong. So this is what it looked like. It's kind of just like all chopped up vegetables, and then like sort of like, I actually don't know what it is. I don't even want to offend people by saying what I think it tastes like. Most insane food. I ate that so much because that stuff was I nearly did turn vegetarian on this trip. I nearly did, but I didn't. I know there's so much more stuff out there that you could try, just because we were like had our set meals through Travel Tier, so they would just give us what we were going to eat. The next thing we're going to speak about is the train from, well, not just the train. The next thing we're going to speak about is transport in Sri Lanka. Crazy experience. The most crazy experience ever. I kind of mentioned we went on the bus quite a lot. We were always on the bus. We had a really good driver, and he honestly was the nicest person I've ever met. He was part of the Travel Tier team. Didn't feel unsafe at all with him driving the bus, but the roads in general and how other people drive on the roads, yeah, it's so unsafe. It's such a shock. It actually brought back a memory. When I tell you, these people use their horn as if it's like a whole nother language. Like they use their horn as like communication. So like when whitewater rafting, and we had to drive about 4 hours to get there, this was with a completely different driver that we hadn't had before. I have never heard a horn beep so many times in my whole entire life. That is probably the most I've ever heard a horn, and it was like to tell people that we were coming around the corner, constantly overtaking people. There is just no stopping them, to be honest. They'll just go, 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 go. We got a bus from Hikkaduwa to Marissa, and it only took like 45 minutes, and there is no surprise when I tell you that is probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life, was get the bus from Hikkaduwa to Marissa. It's the fastest, most unsafe thing I've ever been on. Locals buses, the fact that they run every single day, mind-blowing, like actually mind-blowing. Like the fact people get on those every day, they're so dangerous, and we should have done more research into before we got on the bus. But it cost us £2 each to get from one place to another, so that's kind of why we did it. But it makes so much sense as to why it cost us £2, because our lives were literally at risk. We didn't have a seat at all. They are packed, swinging around corners, they are overtaking people, and I'll insert a video or something, but we were literally stood on the stairs by the door, and the door was open. Do the safe option and get a tuk-tuk, because the tuk-tuk is more expensive and it's longer, and I'm not saying that is completely safe, but it's a safer option because those buses are lethal. Tuk-tuks, love getting a tuk-tuk. I feel really safe in a tuk-tuk. Yes, they are smaller, and the tuk-tuk drivers are always very chatty. I'm sure they probably overcharged us a little bit that we were from the UK. Even if they did overcharge us, it was never that expensive. We'd always leave a tip for the drivers, and we just split it between like 3 or 4 of us, and it would be pennies, £2 to £5 maximum. We were crossing a train track, and that was scary. Talk about the famous train from Ella to Candy, because I of course had to do that train. And yes, a lot of it is for the Instagram, a lot of it is for the pictures and the videos, but also, do you know what, the experience was actually incredible. We were on this train for 2 hours, I think. When we first got on the train, we were all a bit like, I don't think we should do that, or looking safe. Do not recommend this for anyone because it isn't safe. People will do it anyway. If you're gonna do it, you might as well have some advice. When I took my video on the screen, I only took that video when the train has stopped. It stopped at a stop and then the train was starting to move off again. So in the video, the train looks like it's like moving quite fast, but that is literally us going quite slow, and the train had just slowed down and then it was starting to pick up the speed again. So that is when I got my video. Some of my friends who did it, they were leaning over the edges when there's no barrier stopping you from falling over the cliff. If you lean out and you're like leaning forward and you're looking this way, a lot of the time there'll be tunnels and the train will go into a tunnel, and obviously if you weren't looking, you'd be off the train. I had my main pictures taken when the train was stopped. You need to risk your life for an Instagram picture. Views from like inside the train when you're actually on the train and going from Ella to Candy are incredible. There's so much to look forward to on the Ella to Candy train. Whether you need to book it before, we didn't. There was a group of about 20 to 30 of us and we booked it when we were there. But if you feel like you want to book it before, there's no harm in doing so. When we were there in May, there wasn't a lot of people, it wasn't full, but there are times when it will get busier. Something to think about, and I'm sure people probably think what I did is even silly, and I'm sure my dad agrees with that because he literally texted me and he was fuming and all my family thought it was AI. My mum knew I was going to do it because I'd shown her videos of it before I left, so I think as much as she hated me for doing it, she knew that it was coming, whereas my dad had no idea. Some other highlights of my trip: we seen a shark. We went to Pigeon Island. The seas were rough. I'll insert a video of the turtles that we seen. It wasn't a big shark. It was bigger than me. We wouldn't have got in if I thought I was going to see a shark. Then we went to the Temple of the Sacred Tooth. It was such a good experience, such a good look into Lankan history, and definitely worth doing if you're in Kandy. Spent a few hours there. We went to Gaul. And we did a lot of shopping. I really enjoyed Gaul. There was a lot of buildings, like historic buildings. Stunning actually. Very calm. Yeah, very calming. We got some ice cream. That was a really nice visit. We did also go to a tea factory, and that was a really chill experience for us. I think you go around and you see how they all work and how the factory works, and it goes through different processes of how they make Sri Lankan tea. And to finish off, my two absolute favourite parts of Sri Lanka were going to the waterfalls. There's always monkeys around the waterfalls as well, so I'll insert a picture of me with the monkeys. You can't really see the monkey, you kind of have to like have a good look at the picture. We also seen elephants just in the wild. Seen them, we were passing them and they were just in the wild. It was like 3 elephants and a little baby elephant. We even got off the bus at one point because we seen some monkeys in the tree, and I had bananas from the morning that I didn't eat. When I tell you, I was like, let me give the monkeys bananas, and then we got off the bus and the monkeys like really jumped on me, threw the bananas. The amount of wildlife that we've seen on this trip was unmatched. I think we were just super lucky when we were like traveling around that we seen all these different wildlife in their natural habitat. Went to the Udawale National Safari Park was incredible. They're not locked away in big cages, and it's a good ethical way of going to see all these different animals in Sri Lanka. Definitely worth the visit, 100%. Surfing in a monsoon, that was crazy. Best experience ever. So many highlights from that trip, I could speak about it all day. We actually got to Hikkaduwa, which is where we stayed when we were volunteering. Kind of like a villa. Did English development as a volunteer. I just absolutely loved it. We went to a few different schools, repeated the same schools as well, so you do get to know the kids. You do deliver lessons and you plan lessons, and every Monday you plan lessons with the English development group. Think of little games that would suit. Just felt so amazing to be a part of something like that. So worth doing.